Hey everyone, here today with David Hill, gunsmith and also a fellow shooter. We've done a couple classes together, so he kind of sees both sides of gunsmithing and also shooting when it comes to this continuation that we want to do with our irons versus red dots. When we see the irons, we're seeing that usually, you get a handgun and irons are already there, they're set up. If you're wanting to upgrade it, it's pretty simple to upgrade and nothing too crazy to do. But with the red dot, you have a couple different options you have to do, because if you have just a standard slide, right? So there's standard there, nothing's going on with it, then you have to do a little bit more to it compared to if, say, like Glock's MOS or some of the other companies that are making them now where they're kind of pre-cut, like SIG, Walther PDP, and some different other ones. You can kind of take it off, add a plate, and do some stuff with that, compared to then with that slide that, isn't doing anything yet, you have to have it cut out, right? So it helps to have that milled. So we have these different options compared to the irons, so that is something, potentially an extra step you have to take when you're looking at wanting to have a red dot on your pistol. So tell us a little bit about those pros and cons of each one.
Okay, so starting off, red dots, durability has only increased over time. We standardized red dots on the patrol rifles, military, law enforcement. Pretty standard now, not to have iron sights anymore. They are mostly running red dots for the most part. Not saying irons are a thing in the past, because backups are always important. But red dots are more durable, get you on target faster. They're more user-friendly. You get more peripheral vision. They are the future, and it's only increasing from here. And we've adapted them for rifles. It makes sense that we finally adapt them for pistols. As far as systems for mounting, the great debate of the MOS platform with plates, such as the Glock MOS, which comes with a variety of plates for your optics. I personally, before we even go any further, do not like the MOS. I will always take a direct milled slide over the MOS system. However, if you are stuck with an MOS, you can get some great aftermarket options from companies like, I'm going to butcher their name, C&H Precision Weapons and Ford Controls. You can also send the MOS slides like Jonathan has over here to companies like Agency or Unity to do their version of the MOS system, which is way better than the Glock MOS system. The Glock MOS system sits a little high. It's not tight on the red dot, and the metal that they use to make the actual plate is kind of poor quality. We see a lot of these come in and they have completely warped, even under shooting or even dry fire. It will literally lift off the slide. And I don't want to put my $400 optic on a plate that's going to shear screw off and have to have it milled out or EDM'd out, drilled out, however you get it out, and send my optic flying. That would not be fun at all.
If you guys follow, any different variety of shooters on, different social media, you've probably seen different people talking about it. Mike Seeklander, Amy556, and others that talked about how, something happened with those plates or things that wasn't secured and they flew off or whatnot. Now, do we see that the same kind of not as good quality in other manufacturers like Glock, that they're providing their own plate as well, or are they not doing that and you're getting a plate from someplace else? Those pre-cut gun manufacturers as well.
If the company's pre-cutting the slide, so like SIG is releasing pre-cut slides for both for, I believe the plate system's coming, but it's not out for the factory, but they are pre-cutting for their optic and the Delta Point shared footprint, and I believe there are direct RMR. Don't quote me on that, for the 320 from the factory. And then you can buy aftermarket pre-cut slides that are already direct milled for pretty much any optic, or you can send your factory slide and you get milled from a reputable manufacturer. We do them big names like Jaegerworks, Primary Machine. There's a lot of good companies out there. Make sure you pick a quality company to mill your slide. That is the most important. Do not go to just any machinist. For example, not to call anyone out, this 320 slide was brought into us by a certain department that we will not name, and this was going to be her duty pistol for an RMR cut that they had a local machinist do. They broke the tap off in it, and that's why it originally came to us. But the bigger issue is there's no recoil bosses, index points, anything, and it is super tight, but it's crooked for the holes. So the red dot actually sits when you screw it in to the right.
Slanted.
Yep. So there. So
that might cause a little bit of zero issues.
Yep, just a little. So we got her a new slide, ordered one for her, and we actually cut it so it would hold since it was a duty gun.
Nice.
But yeah, so make sure you know who's machining. Just because it's tight doesn't mean that the pressure's even. They did not even contour the front to the optic, so just dead center of the optic is making contact on theirs. So little things, really important to know who's machining your slide.
And that's a big thing as well. If you know these companies that are doing those pre-cut things, they're doing it for just one big size, and if you're doing maybe a red dot that's a little bit smaller than that, that might play a little bit compared to just getting direct milled for that specific one, right?
Always take direct milled if you have the option. You can buy pre-cut slides in any pattern from, Agency is doing them, Zeb's doing them, Zafari Precision's on the lower end, seeing a lot of those. There are companies like Rock Slide that are doing them. Stay away from them. I've seen 12 come through the shop with all cracks in them. They do not have a good reputation, even online. Would not recommend.
Okay.
Use at your own risk type thing. But if you get a pre-cut, make sure it's a good one. The Brownells are pretty good for the price point. I've heard a couple people have some issues with them, but Brownells replace their slides for free.
Okay.
So
Nice.
Make sure if you're gonna buy one that's got mixed reviews, that it's a company who's legit. Is my biggest warning, I guess.
Okay. So at the end of the day, guys, obviously, we already know, you might have to take a couple extra steps with getting a red dot mounted to the pistol, and we've been talking about that. Is it worth it? Things like that. But at the end of it, of course, is don't let yourself, not keep up a good standard of how you're going to mount that pistol, and then make that your cop out of, well, this is the problem. This is why I'm not going to go red dot. Listen to David. Do reputable companies. Do it direct milled if you really can. Obviously, there's some companies that are strictly now only doing releases of their own pre-cut. So then you're having to maybe deal with that, or then get a different slider, things like that. But at the end of the day, those are the things you want to focus on. So thanks, David. Anything else? Last tips?
Yeah, we'll completely glanced over it. The cons of the MOS as well is also height.
Yeah.
You're adding basically another secure point to your slide. So this is a Glock OEM MOS plate. This is the C&H PWS plate that you provided that we're going to be putting on with your SRO, which is going to be a sweet combo. Should be rock solid for an MOS platform. I have heard nothing but good things about them. I still don't own an MOS personally, but if I was, this is what I would buy. This is what we recommend to customers with MOS. We hope to be stocking them here hopefully soon as well, to give the MOS people something to upgrade to that want a little more stability. But your MOS is going to put your red dot up higher than the direct mill. So even comparison wise, even with the plate on it, so you have to think, once he takes the plate off, we're going to add basically a whole nother plate that's going to get screwed down to the slide, and then your optic's going to get screwed down to that. I would much rather have my optic lower with a nice tight fit, some index points or bosses, and nice low. Some companies, depends on who's milling it, have different depth of cut. We do a 159 depth cut for the Trigicon RMR and SRO. It's about as deep as you can get it. I believe Maple Leaf is the other one who's doing a 159. Jaegerworks is a 125. Nothing wrong with it. That's what they've chosen to standardize for all their cuts, are 125. Makes buying sights a lot easier.
Yeah.
But co-witnessing sights for a deeper cut, way easier. For some red dots, you can co-witness with irons, factory iron height. You don't have to buy suppressor height sights. The 507K by Holosun being the big one. The Shield RMS and RMSC, even on the full size, you can co-witness with irons with direct milling from a reputable company. So a lot of options. I want to keep my dot as low as I can, so when I have presentation, I'm not having as big of an adjustment going from irons to a red dot. There's still going to be a learning curve
For sure,
that you're going to have to practice. Like your first time using a red dot, 100% have to practice, but it is faster once you are used to it. And you maintain peripheral vision so much better, in my opinion and experience. We're seeing a lot of the military guys are getting issued red dots now in pistols, especially some of the SF teams. Super excited to see field trials there and how they go. Glock is starting to release direct milled Glocks.
Nice.
That will be coming. They've put a couple testers out into the water. They're pre-milled for the Delta Point, which is what the military picked up for their optics. So they did that one first. A lot of people asked why they didn't do the RMR footprint, but that came right behind it. The one that has been reported is not as deep as a company like us, Primary Machine, or someone is milling for. So it's kind of interesting. I still think they could do better. I hope it's just the beta, being completely honest, and they will get a little deeper cut on there, but we'll see. Glock's gonna do what Glock wants to do.
You know it. That's how they are. Well, cool guys, as we hear, so David definitely is telling you red dots versus iron. Red dots is the winner, right? But at the end of it all,
personal.
Yeah.
There's people that swear by irons. There's nothing wrong with irons. You should train both.
Yeah.
100%.
Definitely see for yourself. Don't just make the jump one way or the other without really seeing it, right?
Train both, have both.
There you go. All right, so we've heard from David both and what he thinks of irons versus red dot, as well as what really is his recommendation for mounting your pistol on your red dot, guys. There you go.